Hello out there, everyone in Spec Ed 2. I am attempting to film using something called Bongo, which is a virtual classroom and screen share technology attached to Brightspace, which is a virtual learning environment for e-learning and the school boards, and which most of you probably know by now. I use e-learning extensively in my classes, both as blended learning and also e-learning, and also classroom, just in the classroom classes as well. So what I've created today, which has helped me with student engagement and UDL and DI in the past, is what I like to call a raft. But normally this raft is just in text form. So this time around, I thought using Google Draw, I would create a raft that y'all could use afterwards when I change the sharing settings on this. So why this is so effective and why it helped me connect to UDL and DI. First of all, Raft, what it allows students to do is find their own access or entry point to show me what they've learned. So instead of giving a project to them, what I would do is I would give them this at the end of every unit. And what they would do is they would create their own project based on this planner. So as you can see here, for my visual learners, I have an actual raft in behind here and multiple colors, so it attracts people's attention and it's easy to distinguish between each parts of the raft. So what does raft stand for? RAF stands for role, audience, format, and topic. Now, in the past, what I have done is I have on these text-only RAFs is I have included concepts from the unit already, which they would go through and use as a checklist. So on this raft, you can see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, I have given them an idea generation box, which says, how much do I know? List topics, concepts, and unit questions here. So that way, they can access the information that they know the best from the unit, which I can assess then from there. So that can be concepts, that can be terms, it could be any kind of background knowledge, or it can be any kind of enduring understanding. What they can also list here is unit essential questions, which in the video was an important part of learning in that grade 5 teachers video, which leads to student engagement and asking better questions. This also is a key point of giving up control to the people who deserve control. So they have control as to what they are going to use for an assessment for a summative activity at the end of a unit. This is, in fact, high school that I'm talking about, or secondary school. The students are responsible for knowing the material. They can demonstrate that again in the bottom right-hand corner that I'm clicking on right now. And it also plays well to their different learning styles and their strengths as learners and their final product that they produce. So a question here, which incorporates their learning styles into it, and also some passion that they have, is what do I love to create? So it could be a drawing, it could be using a certain program, and specifically, it's also looking at inviting the use of tech. So in my classes, we look through a variety of tech tools, and we'd be very specific as to the final product and how these learning styles and how the tech directly connects to what they are doing. So we have a strategy here, and then we have the tool. So in every tech lesson that I do, I make sure that I'm very explicit about the skill that they're supporting, the strategy that they're using, and then the tool that they're using to support that. So say, for example, if this were a project on learning skills and they were looking at organization. So if if the skill is organization, and the strategy would say a to-do list, and they wanted to show someone how to do a to-do list, they know that they might be teaching someone how to use Google Keep, and they might do a screencast just like this one for Google Keep. So that's one example of how they drive what they would be using to show that learning. up in the top here is a very important piece for an assessment, which is what's my role. So is your role an educator? Is it someone who's making a how-to video? Is it someone who's just there to entertain someone else? And that would be, we do a lesson on author's purpose, and we do lessons on how to make an effective slideshow. So instead of receiving ad nauseum amounts of Google Slides that are meandering and aren't, in fact, they're just full of text, they don't have a lot of pictures on them, is we co-create that criteria ahead of time to know what the role is of the person that's presenting. And so that's author's purpose over here. If you're presenting to a certain audience and they know that they're presenting to a group of grade 10s, we talk about the language that they have to use, say, in a presentation. So you can see now that I'm just going to add on here that we also look for the success criteria that we've co-created. That we'll add there. All right, so in this, students can take charge of their own learning. We're building a community of belonging because no idea is necessarily the wrong idea as far as a final assessment goes. For some students who still don't have a clue, you can modify this for those learners and you can add a number of options for them, especially for the final product or the strategy, the skill, and the tool to which they're going to use. So if they need some help with that, then you can provide some scaffolding there, and you can provide a checklist of some tools that they could use to present a final product. Good. So the students feel more engaged in their learning right from the planning of this, right from the gathering of background knowledge, and then finally, hopefully some more engagement because they get to choose something that matches their learning skill or perhaps something that they really like that they've done in another class, and they can convince you as the teacher or me as the teacher how they can show their understanding and connect concepts using something that they may have never thought of before. One great example that I can think of from a class about a week ago was I noticed that a student was spending a whole lot of time on Tumblr, and she needed to create a final product for that unit. So I talked it over with her and we chatted about how she could make that final product, but using something that she's very familiar with, which is the Tumblr platform. Great. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it worked out really, really well and that everybody was able to see the video. And please let me know if the quality was enough. I am going to post my planner here publicly so you can use it, you can send it out, you can let me know how it goes in your classes. So again, thanks so much for the time, and I hope to talk to everybody real soon.